Hello guys, welcome back to yet another podcast video, whatever, created by the great one and only RC7 guys. So today we are gonna learn the American War of Independence, or much more good to say, the American history. Oh, one thing I wanna say that if anyone watching it and some of the people may be much more, smarter or knowledgeable than me. So, if there are any mistakes in this podcast, kindly consider me sorry. Okay. So let's get into it. The American War of Independence is all about massacres and debates and civil problems, and there were so many dramatic moments in this American War of Independence. So first we have to know what is a revolution. Revolution are the struggles tried to change the system that denied freedom and rights to establish a new one. Therefore, they are known as the revolutions, right? And if we have to know about Renaissance made significant changes in human thoughts, views, life, such as humanism, spirit of inquiry, rational thinking, spirit of truth, scientific temper, etc. So, the American War of Independence has a great slogan which is known as "No taxation without representation." What does it mean? Okay, here is our question, and the answer is this was a slogan that along different parts of North America in the second half of the 18th century, what did people demand through this slogan? Framed by James Otis. That's a great question. So, the representation of government, membership of British Parliament, and denial of taxes, allow free trade are the people's demand through this slogan. So, from the 16th century onwards, the story begins. Hear it, guys. It's great. From the 16th century onwards, the Europeans began to migrate to North America. The major aim of the migration was to exploit the resources. But the 18th century, England had established 13 colonies. 13 colonies. Yeah, you have to listen to this, okay? Yeah, which are the 13 colonies? Let me check it out. So, New Hemisphere was the top, and Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York. Oh, New York was there. And Connecticut, Peninsula, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Also Georgia. So these are the major 13 colonies in the eastern coast of North America. Near to the right side of North America, and these are the coastal plains of Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. So here is an interesting law, which, guys, these Europeans came to America, and this British treats the American colonies as a center of collecting raw materials for their industry and as a market for selling their products. This policy implemented the British merchants with help of their motherland, and the American colonies is known as the mercantilism. So there were certain laws such as known as the mercantilist laws. So let's get into it. What are the mercantilist laws? Before that, we have to I remember one thing, which is the migration to America. Yeah, the Columbus story. The Christopher Columbus, a sailor of the Spanish government, reached the North America in 19 again. 1492. He called the indigenous people as the Indians. After we call the Red Indians. He thought that the people has reached was India. Later, they were known as the Red Indians. The early colonies in America was established by a group of people who existed in America for the religious persecution of the King of England in the 17th century on a ship called Mayflower. They were known as the Pilgrim Fathers. Noted. That's a great name. With the increase in the European migration, the Red Indians were disappeared in the interiors. They gone to the centers of America. The center part of America, which at that time will be forest. The Red Indians were displaced into the interiors. The Europeans seized their lands and flock of sheep. We never said about the mercantile laws. These are the mercantile laws. The goods to and from the colonies must be carried only in British ships or ships built in British colonies. What the hell? Do you ever think about it? There's more to come. Listen. Products of the colonies like sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. could only be exported to England. Oh no. The British stamps must be affixed on all the legal documents, newspapers, pamphlets, licenses, etc. And the colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops which were maintained in the colonies. Import tax must be paid for the import of tea, glass and papers. Look at the second last and the last point. Colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops which were maintained on the colonies. Look at that. Do you ever just think about it? How hard was Americans to live in America even they are in different places. So these are the famous mercantilist laws. So these laws are implemented by the great British colonies, Not that great. So this policy was mercantilism. Noted, guys. That's important. So after that, there was a huge dramatic thing was happening, which is called the Boston Tea Party. The high tax levied by the British government and on tea fired up strong protest in America. On 16 December 1773, a group of people distinguished the Red Indians boarded the ship at night in the Boston harbor and threw 342 chests of teas into the sea. This protest is known as the Boston Tea Party. The mercantilist laws were the American colonies peoples against their motherland. As is the statement, they identify some thinkers or stimulated the people of the colonies to fight against the exploitative laws of the British. Let's familiarize with those things on their ideas. John Locke. Everyone has some fundamental right. No government has the right to suspend them. These are the words of the great John Locke, who was once a thinker in America. So the John Locke says that everyone has some fundamental rights. No government has the right to suspend them. That's right. At that time, one man said it. And again, Mr. Thomas Paine, the great Thomas Paine, said there is something absurd in supposing a continent, North America, be perpetually governed by the foreign power, England. He's also right. And the aftermath of all of these, these thinkers, these problems, these laws all influenced the later history of America, and this led to a war, which is the American War of Independence. So the main points that led the people to make an anti-British rule, an anti-British thinking in America was give direction and more. These main points were the ideas of the thinkers, the mercantilist laws, these suppression by British army to the Americans are the problems that make an anti-British thinking in America. So aftermath of that, the entire continent assembled. colonies. That means the delegates of all the colonies except Georgia, the last of American continent, okay, 13th continent, met at Philadelphia. Again, I am saying that the delegates of all the colonies except Georgia met at Philadelphia in 1774 to protest against the policies and rules imposed by the England. It is known as the First Continental Congress. Subsequently, the people of colonies submitted a petition to the King of England. They demand the revocation, which means reset, of the regulations enforced on industry and commerce, and not to impose tax without the approval of the people. But the king sent a military force to suppress the people. This led to the war between the England and the colonies, and that leads to the Second Continental Congress. So what was the First Continental Congress? The First Continental Congress was in 1774, okay, which all the colonies except Georgia, not that point, had met at Philadelphia, okay, and protest against the policies and rules imposed by the England. And this is mainly called the First Continental Congress. And aftermath of that, we have the Second Continental Congress, held at Philadelphia in 1775. After 1 year, elected George Washington. Yeah, that's right, the first president of the Great America, as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. George Washington in the Second Continental Congress become the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. Does that make sense? Must be, right? So during the time, through the pamphlet titled The Common Sense, the Thomas Paine, which is a thinker, we said about him later, before, declared that it was wise for Americans to break the ties with Britain, right? These all of this suppression, the king's rule, these laws, America getting freedom, and the Thomas Paine influenced a lot in that. Not just Thomas Paine, there are a lot of thinkers, okay? And the Thomas Paine declared that it was wise for Americans to break ties with Britain. The American Continental Congress issued the famous Declaration of Independence on 4 July 1776. After this 1 year of the Second Continental Congress, on the 4th July, the great, beautiful America got independence. In 4 July 1776, the declaration was prepared by the Thomas Jefferson and the Benjamin Franklin. Those two names, we know that, right? An attraction from it is given below regarding human rights and freedom. What all can we say in the declaration? The main points are all are equal. Everyone has some certain rights. Freedom of speech, liberty, justice, equality. These are the main. These are the Jews of the declaration. So the war between the England and the colonies in the North America that began with the Declaration of Freedom entered in 1781. According to the treaty in Paris in 1783, England ratified the freedom of the 13 colonies. The Constitution Convention held at Philadelphia under the leadership of James Madison framed the American Constitution. The George Washington became the first president of the United States of America, formed in accordance with the new Constitution. The American War. So that is the end of the Great American War of Independence. The Americans making a great constitutions and declaring freedom entered in the war always in 1781, I think. According to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, England ratified the freedom of 13 colonies. This Constitution Convention held at Philadelphia under the leadership of James Madison framed the American Constitution. So the George Washington became the first president of the United States, formed in accordance with the new Constitution. That's the end of the Great American War of Independence. Must be, I think, the modern American history. The American War of Independence term transformed the system existed there It greatly influenced the later history of the world. Look at that word, of the world. It greatly influenced the later history of the world in different ways. The American War of Independence. Can you guys believe that? Yeah, this is the first revolution. This is the first renaissance, I think. So, can I tell a part of the Constitution of America? Yeah, that must be fun. I think it's cool. We hold this truth with the self-evident that all men are created equal. That's right. Now there is a lot of importance nowadays in this constitution. Check that out. Compare it with these people, what we are doing in the US. Look at that. Asian American hates, Black Lives Matter. What are we doing, right? Yeah, we have to change. Our constitution has written like this. We are the people created as equal, and we have the same blood. We have the same color in our blood. We have the same mind. We have the same capacity. There is no differentiation in our skin, in our caste, in our religion. There is nothing in that. We just love people, right, guys? Yeah. And let's read it again. We hold this truth of the self-evident of all the men created equal. They are endowed of this creator's creation unalienable rights. These are the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is to secure these rights. Governments and institutions among men derivated their power from the constant of the government. That whenever any form of government becomes the destruction of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. So that's it, guys. And here is a little gift. If anyone is hearing it at this time, the Jews, the aftermath, the end of America, the timeline, that events related to the American War of Independence are these. The American War of Independence gave direction and motivation to the later freedom struggles and the revolutions all over the world. Second point, put forward that the concept of republican form of government and prepared the first written constitution, contributed by the concept of federal system that ensured freedom and authority to the state and the union. So, thanks guys for watching or listening to this podcast. Thank you very much. I don't know if anyone is gonna hear this thing, but if anyone till now listening this, very thank you guys. A great love from RG7 Rocky and Batty, guys. So thanks. Have a nice day. Good night. Peace. Yeah. Catch you guys in the next one.